More than 6 months ago, the people of Maine voted to shut down a $1 billion power line project. But tonight, the legal battle for the future is very much alive.
The CMP Corridor would have carried Canadian hydropower through the western Maine woods and into the New England grid. And despite resistance, its backers want to push ahead with the work. News Center Maine's Don Kerrigan is live in Portland tonight. And Don, the legal fight here is happening on two fronts.
It is. So the legal fight today was unfolding inside the Maine Supreme Court here in Portland. You know, the corridor itself is nearly all cleared. All the 54-mile new section of it is almost all cleared of trees, and it's basically been sitting there since late last fall while this whole process plays out. There's a lot of questions involved, a lot of legal challenges, and it will now be up to the justices of the Supreme Court to decide what happens next. The first of the two cases, called Black versus Maine's Bureau of Public Lands, is about the corridor crossing roughly a mile of state-owned public lands north of the Forks. That's the only part of the corridor that has not yet been cleared of trees. The project was given a permit to cross that land under former Governor LePage, and then it was reissued under Governor Mills. But corridor opponents say Maine's Constitution required approval of that by 2/3 of the legislature in order to grant a permit, which did not happen. The State Bureau of Public Lands and Avangrid and the NECEC say the legislature did not need to get involved because the project is not considered a substantial change to the current use. The Superior Court ruled with corridor opponents. In court today, several of the justices asked the lawyers why the whole matter wasn't just sent back to the Bureau of Public Lands to consider it all over again, even though one of the justices said probably the result wouldn't change. And from the sound of that questioning, Zach and Chris, it sounds like that may be one of the key issues that the Supreme Court justices will resolve. There's a lot to this, and then of course there's the second piece, the second case also heard today, immediately after the one we just talked about, which is the challenge by the NECEC and Avangrid to the actual referendum that was passed by voters last November. That referendum, of course, created a new law that basically prohibits any new high-impact transmission lines without approval of the legislature, and specifically forbids them in the upper Kennebec region, which is where the new section of the corridor has been built. There's a whole nother challenge of the project that's happening in another venue next week. We'll talk all about that coming up on News Center Maine at 6.
All right, Don, thanks very much.